Hello, Fruitlet community. Welcome back. Today we're doing another podcast. And welcome back to the Lost and Not Found. Okay, let me start over. Welcome everybody to the Lost and Not Found podcast. We're doing a little earlier episode today. But hi everyone, I'm your host Fruitler and welcome to the Lost and Not Found podcast, a beacon of hope for those feeling adrift in the sea of life. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, and remind you that tough times are just temporary. Join us as we navigate through these storms together, finding direction and purpose in the chaos. Remember, you may be lost, but you're not alone. And starting off with the disclaimer, please note that the content shared on the Lost and Not Found podcast is solely based on my personal opinions and experiences. Excuse me. I'm not a certified professional or expert in the topics discussed. The podcast is intended to share my personal insights and should not be considered professional advice. If you require expert assistance or advice, I strongly recommend seeking help from a qualified professional in the relevant field. Thank you for tuning in as always, and remember, this is a journey we're on together. So hello, welcome everybody. We are back with another episode, and today's episode number 5. And the topic is fear holding me back? Now, this is quite an interesting topic, I think, overall. And so we'll be deep diving into this today. So let's first start off with the introduction. So why I chose this topic? I chose this topic to discuss the concept of fear because it's a universal human experience that often influences our decisions and actions, particularly in pursuing our goals and dreams. And fear is a powerful emotion that can motivate and both motivate and hinder us. It's a topic that resonates with many of us as we navigate through life's uncertainties. Personally, I've grappled with this question quite a bit about the role of fear in my own journey, which is why I find this topic particularly relevant and compelling. And yes, I was going to bring that up yesterday, actually. This was a prevalent theme, as you can tell, even though yesterday I was supposed to make a different title for the Fall Guy stream, and fear held me back, and it hasn't even been 24 hours, and already I have an example of when fear held me back and saying, man, Fruitler, you should have just tried the new title rather than be so fearful of, getting judged or like possibly failing. That should not have been the sole reason that you didn't do. You should have just went for it and tried it and just use that as, whether it failed or not, to use that as motivation going forward to do other things. So already I can tell this is a very, very good topic for me to everybody, and especially myself, to talk about and hopefully get through. So we'll move on to the next point. So definition: fear can be defined as an emotional response to perceived threats or danger. Whether real or imagined, it often manifests as anxiety, apprehension, or sense of unease. So fear serves as a protective mechanism, alerting us to potential risks and prompting us to take action to ensure our safety and well-being. So fear can be used. Fear in itself is, by definition, it's an emotional response to feeling threatened or endangered. So in a sense, fear can be good and bad. Having fear here and there can help you avoid getting into trouble or going into a situation that you probably should not go into. Let's say, like, if you were not scared of, let's say you see a bunch of spikes on the floor, right? Like a hole with a bunch of spikes under it, like Indiana Jones or something, right? And you did not fear that at all, and then you ended up jumping in there, you would probably end up not surviving. So there can be areas where fear is good, where it can serve as a warning, serve as an alert to be like, hey, you shouldn't do that. You should be scared for those things. What's it called? Yeah, so those things. So fear can be good, but also fear can be like, it can be fearful of things that aren't even real, that you don't even know. Like my hypothetical yesterday, I was scared of what could have happened, so I did not try. And that could have held me back. That could have held me back in the end to be like, okay, what if I went with it and things turned out well? And why am I so scared of failing and all these things? Like, is my fear holding me back from becoming successful and doing what I should be doing and trying to be daring rather than, hiding away somewhere, But yeah, however, fear can also be irrational or disproportionate, leading us to avoid opportunities for growth and fulfillment. So there is both sides of the coin where fear can serve as a protective mechanism. It can protect you from potential harm, but it also can fill you with irrational and disproportionate ideas and things to lead you away from possible opportunities and growth areas. So next thing is how fear holds us back. So fear can manifest in many ways, such as fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown. And these fears can paralyze us, preventing us from pursuing our passions, taking calculated risks, or seizing opportunities for personal and professional growth. Moreover, fear can lead to procrastination, perfectionism, and self-doubt, hindering our ability to achieve our goals and reach our full potential. So this is a very, very good area to focus on, because fear, if you're too scared all the time, you're ending up limiting yourself because you're not trying anything, because you're so scared that you're going to fail. You're so scared that you're going to get the no. They're going to tell you no. You're so scared of not knowing what's going to happen that you'd rather not do it. You'd rather not try than try itself. But a lot of these things will take, you have to test things out. You have to experience failure here and there. You have to go through these things in order to get something else, because change doesn't happen unless there is a change in itself. You can't expect things to just magically work your way without doing anything or trying anything. So you eventually will have to go and test that area, saying, okay, this is unknown. I'm scared, but I gotta still go head first right into it and see what happens at the end of the day, because that's what it's going to take. Because you and I, we don't know everything. So there will be times in life where we're unsure of what's happening, and we'll have to take these chances overall. You know what I mean? So what's the next topic? Overcoming fear. So how can we overcome this fear? So first, we can start off with acknowledging and confronting your fears. The first step is overcoming fear. The first step in overcoming fear is to recognize and acknowledge its presence in your life. Identify specific fears that may be holding you back and explore their underlying causes. So taking a deep dive into why you're scared, what's going on, understanding the fear so you become more familiar with it. So now you can get more of an idea, and now okay, now I can build up more tools maybe to tackle this. And then next is challenge limiting beliefs. So often our fears are rooted in limiting beliefs about ourselves or our abilities. Challenging these beliefs by reframing negative thoughts and focusing on evidence of past successes and strengths can lead you to get past these. Because, once again, you're like, I'm not good enough. I can't get through this. It's not possible. If you have that mentality, the fear will get to you and you'll give up right there. Let's say you're like a track runner and you have to run. You want to run really fast and be able to compete. If you tell yourself, I can't do this, it's not physically possible, then you're done. You cannot continue. You have to reframe these negative thoughts into possibilities, because you don't know. At the end of the day, you and I, we can maybe have some guesses, or, we can think of what the future will hold, but at the end of it, we can't 100% certainly say what's going to happen. So all we can do is kind of give it our best shot and say, because to get to the next level, you have to be more daring. You have to try these things, because how else are you going to get there? You're not going to get there with the current things You're going to have to push outside your realm. Because let's say you're not good enough now. To get good enough, you're going to have to push beyond what you're capable of right now. And that will take trying the impossible, challenging things that you don't think are possible, because you think all these successful people, like say the Olympians, right? You think when they're kids and stuff, right? When they're really young, they're like, oh yeah, maybe they have the mentality. Maybe the difference is they have the mentality, but it's like, they're not certain. Like, you're a kid, you're not certain you're going to be an Olympian. You don't know your limits or anything, but they themselves, they believe in themselves since the very beginning. And they do go through their lapses of judgment as well, right? So having a support system and everything is very important as well. But they have that different mentality overall, saying, I'm going to get through this no matter what. I believe I can do this. Even if it doesn't seem possible, and then they try their hardest, and guess what? They achieve the impossible. They eventually achieve it, which because they didn't limit their beliefs to themselves. So the next step would be take gradual steps outside your comfort zone. So overcoming fear requires courage and resilience. Start by taking small, manageable steps outside your comfort zone, gradually expanding your boundaries and building confidence along the way. So there is no rush to it. It's like, I think there's a whole thing saying, there can be a fear of having to do everything at once, which can be very overwhelming. So what I would propose is take it small. There is no rush at the end of the day. Taking small steps are better than taking no steps. So at the beginning, just segment it and do what you think you can do. Let's say you have a huge fear of, heights, right? Huge fear. I don't think at the beginning you should just think of, hey, let's just conquer the fear by going skydiving. That may be traumatize you for life. I am saying maybe you can just try going up a little higher elevation, little by little, and then maybe try going up a smaller cliff near your area, and then maybe try hiking a little more higher, and then building this resilience slowly growing. It's kind of like working out. You got to take your time. At the beginning, you want to start small, get more consistent, try and get more confident with heights. So you want to get more comfortable with heights. So slowly introduce your way into it. And then I think that's something, it's like called exposure therapy or something. Like if you're scared of spiders, I think, like they'd slowly show you a picture of a spider, and then they slowly will give more and more and more, and then eventually you face your biggest fear. So it's building resilience through small things along the way. And then cultivate a growth mindset. So embrace challenges as opportunities for learning and growing. Adopting a growth mindset allows you to view setbacks as temporary setbacks and setbacks as opportunities for growth. So I think the mindset, this is a heavy mental game. Fear is a heavy mental game because you can be fully capable but just because you're scared, that in itself can hold you back entirely. So you need to have a growth mindset. You have to rephrase things. It's like you can't say, I can't do this. You have to rephrase, how can I do this? How can I get there? So put it into a more positive light. Don't put it so much into a negative light saying, I give up, it's impossible. Rephrase it to make it so like, how can I achieve this? Okay, it's difficult. It's I don't know if I can get there, but what steps can I take to get there? How can I grow from this? What can I learn from this? And once you become in love with learning, then you become less scared, you become more confident, and you start to grow and elevate your life and career even more. And then lastly, seek support. Surround yourself with a supportive network of friends, families, mentors, or peers who can offer encouragement, guidance, and perspective. Don't be afraid to ask for help when needed. I think having a support system is very, very, very important. Surround yourself with like-minded people and people that are going to uplift you, not people that are just going to be hating on you all day. Because if you are hating on yourself, and if you are scared yourself and other people are doubting you as well, it will be almost impossible. But if you surround yourself by a good support system, it helps a lot. Because they believe in you and you're like, okay, I feel more confident. I feel less scared. Let's do this, And then moving on to the next topic, we can take a short break for some questions if anyone has. We could take like a couple seconds if anyone has any questions. But hello, welcome to the podcast today. But if you have any comments you want to share or any questions right now, we'll just have a little bit of time to open up the floor. But if not, I can continue. Okay. I don't see any comments, so let's get back into this. So the power of vulnerability. So embrace vulnerability as a strength. Contrary to popular belief, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of authenticity. By embracing vulnerability, we can cultivate deeper connections with others, foster empathy and compassion, and create environments where we feel safe to be ourselves. Share So you want to share your fears and struggles openly, not with everybody, with people you trust, of course, but by sharing our fears and struggles openly with others, we can break down barriers, normalize the human experience, and find support and understanding. So you want to be open, obviously not to everybody. You don't just want to go out and say, here's my problems, everybody. Like, you'll get weird looks. But to people you trust and to yourself, you want to embrace that, say, hey, we're struggling. Hey, I'm scared of these areas. These are my areas of weakness. And to embrace that and then say, okay, how can I get through this? The moment you start to take your problems and face them head forward, it may be scary at first, but then it gives you more of a perspective into what you're facing, right? And by that, you're able to analyze it more and see, okay, now I'm kind of getting a better picture. It's not as scary. How can we handle this? How can we tackle this? It does not seem so impossible anymore because now I'm looking right at it. I'm looking at it right in the face. So and then lastly, personal reflections. So I did share yesterday. Once again, I had my Fall Guys stream, and I was scared, and I did not decide to do the topic. And my personal, I'll just share for personally the YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is heavily controlled by fear. And I think I tried to combat fear as much as I can. But like doing YouTube and social media and stuff itself, like the moment I started, it was very scary. And it's still scary to this day in the sense that I'm putting myself out there. I don't know what's going to happen. This is the internet. The internet is very, the internet can be all over the place. And, it's scary. It really is. Because, because here, I'll tell you how, I started YouTube because first off, I thought it was something to do and it's very accessible. And low-key, like I started because I saw all these people doing it and I was like, you know what? I feel like I could do that too, right? Like, it doesn't seem so hard. But the moment I started, I became very self-conscious, very scared, very, fearful because I was fearful of judgment. I was fearful of everything, but sorry, I'm happy that you stream, but I have to watch it. It's 11 p.m. No worries. Thank you for joining though. But it's a whole lot of fear that I experience with content creation because everything feels like a wrong decision. Like, let's say you post. You post on social media and you get no likes and people aren't viewing it. Then then you're like, okay, I don't want to post that again because I'm scared it's not gonna do well. And then you have another idea that you're like, oh, this sounds like it's fun, but then you're scared. It's like, what if people don't like this idea? What if people unsubscribe? What if people start disliking? There's a fear of judgment, I feel, because I know when you put yourself out to the internet, especially at the beginning, it was so up and down for me because I'd get a lot of encouraging comments, but then there'd also be like random comments that are like negative. And then you have people unsubscribing. And then you got like, okay, what's wrong with my content? Should I just not do this? Should I just stick with all the trending stuff? I don't think I should do this. I'm so scared to try something else because what if it gets no views? Yada, yada, yada. What if everyone unsubscribes? And you get this fear of failure and you keep tumbling down and down and down. But now I've come back to YouTube. I still experience it. I still experience this fear all the time. As you can tell with yesterday's Fall Guy stream already. And even with socials, I'm like so scared to post all the time because I'm like, oh, what if it just doesn't get any likes or what if it ruins everything, But it's to I've been refocusing my mind to say, okay, forget about all that stuff. Focus on building you and take this like step by step, You don't have to be overwhelmed by all this. Just do what you want. Don't be so scared to try something else. If someone, let's say worst case scenario, a bunch of people come on and then we get like a bunch of negative reviews and everything, right? First off, we don't have to listen to any of that. Second off, we can just like block everybody. It's fine. It's to say, okay, focus on your own growth. Be daring. Don't be so scared to feel judgmental because what if I try something else and that's the thing to put me over the edge? Because it's going to take change to get where you want to get to eventually, right? So, and think outside the box and everything. So, why not try these things out as well, you know? So that was kind of it for my personal reflection. Now I'll go into the conclusion unless anyone has any last second comments they want to add or share. Or you may feel free to add now. But it's not looking like it once again. I'll just go straight into the conclusion then. So as we conclude this episode of the Lost and Not Found podcast, we've explored the pervasive influence of fear in our lives and its impact on our ability to pursue our goals and dreams. While fear can be a formidable obstacle, we've learned that it's not insurmountable. By acknowledging, confronting, and challenging our fears, we can cultivate the courage and resilience needed to move forward with confidence and purpose. Moreover, we've recognized the power of vulnerability in overcoming fear and fostering deeper connections with others. By sharing our fears and struggles openly, we can create a supportive community where we feel accepted and understood. As we continue on our journey of self-discovery and growth, I encourage you to confront your fears head-on, embrace your vulnerability as a strength, and pursue your passions with courage and determination. Remember that you are capable of achieving greatness beyond your fears. Man, that's a good line. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of fear. Your courage, resilience, and authenticity inspires us all. Until next time, take care, keep searching what truly matters. Thank you all so much for listening to the Lost and Not Found podcast. I appreciate it as always, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care.